Yes.
And what I've discovered through this research is that they have found that there is the AIDS virus in cats, fleas, fruit flies, and mosquitoes. And what I want to ask you is that true? And if it is...
To some degree, yes.
Can we get bit by a mosquito and get the AIDS virus?
Not really, not directly. There can be certain cases where there may be susceptibility, where complications, as you say, may set in from the bite. The transmittal of one disease, as you say, may pave the way for the breaking down of the immune system to receive the other disease. It will be an indirect route in that sense. However, the existence of that particular disease in some of those animal forms can give you, if you know where to look, clues as to how the disease works by understanding the nervous systems of those animals.
Why specifically cats and not dogs or rabbits or rats?
Because the idea, once again, now there is many reasons, but foundationally, basically, generally, once again remember that the cat animal in your society represents the bridge between physical and non-physical reality, and that is what you are learning to assimilate, to create the dream and the physical world to be one, because only in your dreams will you alleviate all suffering. It pushes you in that direction, to seek in your dreams to create the world that you desire, to manifest your dreams into physical reality by understanding that they are one and the same thing. Your cat animal represents this symbolically. It also represents, to some degree, the notions of the subconscious and unconscious realms being what you would call a being considered to be a being of the night, the darkness, the idea of getting in touch with those subconscious realms, bringing them to light, seeing the things that are there to see that you have not allowed yourself to see before, even in the same way you know your cat animal sees things you do not. To see into other areas, to see into what you formerly have called dream realities. That is what is symbolized by the cat. You understand?
Yes, I do. So is it going to help our research for these animals to...
It will completely depend upon who will take the information and how they will use it. It is completely up to you, in your hands. Now, we do perceive that, generally speaking, breakthroughs, as you call them, will be made before your century is out, and they will be arrived at from many different points of view. But each and every one of these points of view will involve, at least as a seed, at least as a kernel, around which all the ritual is wrapped, the notion that your consciousness itself is responsible for everything. Your scientists, your medical practitioners, in a sense, along with all of you, are creating situations that force you into a corner so you have nowhere else to look but within. Everything in that sense is closing in on you. You are seeing manifestations in nature all around you of the idea of disease and destruction. It forces you to understand that it began with you and can only be changed through you. Understand?
Yes. Thank you, Bashar.
It is always up to each and every one of you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Can you clarify something you said earlier?
Yes.
Is all that is self-conscious? Or could it be if it is?
It is self-conscious because it is infinite. As long as it is open-ended, all that is, because it is infinite, can be self-aware. If it were not infinite, it could not be. But it is. It seems contradictory to say all that is and yet say it is infinite. For it seems as if you can never know exactly what all that is, because it never ends. But because it is open-ended, that ability allows all that is to be self-aware. Does this make sense?
Yeah, in a physical way.
All right. Thank you. Perhaps, if you wish, you can let all that is worry about that. The idea, to some degree, can be expressed more simply by recognizing that if you are self-aware, all that is must be.
Yeah.
Understand?
Yeah.
Thank you. Shooting.
Hi, Bashar.
And to you, good day and good New Year.
Thank you. I wanted to wish you and all your people a very loving New Year.
Well, thank you.
Coming up here tonight is a total choice for me because my name was actually drawn at the last session.
All
and
right.
I somehow developed this idea that whether or not I came up here was symbolic of this door that I need to go through but have been resistant to go through.
All right.
So coming tonight was my attempt to go through that door.
Well, thank you.
And
what did you find on the other side?
Well, I don't know.
Oh, all right. Are you
Well,
still standing on the threshold?
Maybe.
All right.
The only thing I know about that door is that it somehow manifests in me through an idea of choking. I choke a lot.
Oh, all right.
And in the past couple of weeks, it's been really bizarre because, I just started choking violently while I was crossing the street the other day.
Yes.
And then I had a dream about a dog whose jaws were around my throat
Oh,
in
right.
a non-belligerent way. And I don't know what's through the door, but I just knew I had to go through it. And all I really want to say was to thank you to giving me the opportunity to step through my door.
Oh, well, thank you. Do remember the dog symbolizes service in your society. Shows you things that serves you by allowing you to see more of yourself, more what you need to see to grow in the directions you have chosen to grow, is that constant companion, that constant reminder to look in directions that will increase your awareness of yourself. Now do remember, and this perhaps can alleviate some of the idea of choking up on, making a motion. It is symbolic to some degree of freedom of expression, of expressing of the fullness of the self, of holding that back or feeling like your society would somehow prevent you from expressing yourself fully. Sometimes these things, these physiological choking sensations, sometimes are connected to the idea of what you call past life scenarios or experiences, where individuals, in that sense, were choked to death, shall we say, suffocated in many ways for the expression of what they believe. Sometimes when you arrive at a similar point in the present life, you may replay some of those ideas that you lived out before, that concluded with the idea of having the life choked out of you because of your expressive of self. Now you come to the threshold of learning to express yourself fully again. So perhaps you pass through those scenarios again, but do remember always, you can never, never, never attract to yourself an opportunity that is bigger than you are capable of handling at any given moment. It is not possible. And in that sense, it is not logical. It would be completely imbalanced if that were so. Whatever vibration you are, that is what you attract. And what you attract cannot be more than the vibration you are is capable of handling. Understand?
Yes, I do.
Does that assist you?
Yes, thank you.
Then know you have the key. Swing the door open freely. Because anything you find will only be what you wanted to find to grow in the way you decided to grow. Use it in a positive way, and you will always find you will have the freedom of expressing who and what you discover yourself to be. For once again, every full conviction expression of self will always lead itself into the appropriate circumstances where there is an audience to listen. Always. For every being that expresses themselves, there is a stage for that expression. It cannot be otherwise. Otherwise, creation, as you say, would be lopsided. For every creation that exists, there must be a way for that creation to create, to express itself to the fullness of its capacity. You don't have to hold back because you believe you do not fit. Understand?
Yes, I do.
Does this assist you?
Yes, thank you very
Well,
much.
thank you very much. And you said that very well. Sharing.
Hello, Bashar.
And good day, good New Year to you.
How you doing today?
Perfect, and you?
All right.
All right.
I wanted to ask you, in your society, does music play a role?
Is that a joke?
No.
Yes, it does. Very much so. But it is mostly a spontaneous creation. That is the role it plays. It is one of the ways we have of expressing ourselves, much in the same way you do. Now, our instrumentation, physiologically speaking, shall we say, is not as complex as yours. We do not have as many instruments upon our planet at this time as do you, for it takes very little tonality, very little vibration, shall we say, to set us off, to set up the atmosphere necessary for us to go through whatever transformations are representative by the spontaneous creation of that tonal vibration. So we have instruments that are similar in certain ways to what you might call some of your bell-like structures, some of your string-like structures, some of your percussion-like structures. It is more similar to what you might call the music of your Asiatic culture upon your planet. But many of them are patterned on trinary beats, as you would call it. And this sets up the prime foundational vibration our entire society cues off of. An individual who simply feels so moved to play will play. And if there is need of an audience, they will automatically find themselves in a location where there is an appreciative audience. Exactly the audience that needs to hear exactly what the person who is playing is playing. So yes, there is musical expression, there is artistic expression in many ways, again similar to your own world, although different in many ways. I myself am very, as you say, fond of physiological sculpture. And that is one of the expressions I undertake, as you say, when the spirit moves me. Does this answer your question?
Yes, it does.
Well, thank you very much
Thank you.
for creating music with us. Sharing.
Hello, Bashar.
And good day, good new year to you.
Same to you.
Thank you.
I thought you in the audience might be interested that they have belief system psychology at the Learning Tree University in Chatsworth now. Information's really getting out there.
All right.
What I want to
It is, as you say, leaking more and more and more into your educational foundations, the understanding that the mind is where it all begins, the consciousness is where it all stems from, and that's where it all ends up.
Okay.
Proceed.
I've been reading lately about the aura of the planet,
Yes.
the energy patterns, the vibrations of the different rays, and the way they go around and how they affect the different areas.
Yes, and how they are also representative of how different areas have been affected.
Well, one thing that kind of surprised me is reading about, they like synchronistically kept referring to Aries as a point of reference, which I happen to be an Aries. But it sounds like that being born in Aries, the red ray, when they started describing the red ray, it just described almost what I am in this life.
No, all right.
So when I come into physicality, you come into that birthday, that ray kind of like the design when you come in for what you're going to do in physicality is...
In a sense, yes, although it is not absolutely structured as much as many individuals might think. There is always some leeway for creation, there must be. The idea, however, is to think of it perhaps in the following manner, if this will be of assistance. You are made of energy, so to speak. When you physicalize, it is like crystallizing that energy in much the same way that you would allow ice to crystallize out of a sea of water. When you crystallize, when you become physical, obviously, whatever patterns or currents are existent within the free-floating energy at the time of the crystallization will, in a sense, be frozen within your structure and therefore, to some degree, representative of the style of energy arrangement, the pattern of energy arrangement that you have created yourself to be. You will simply take the pattern and the style of energy arrangement, of physiological crystallized energy arrangement that is most reflective and representative of the ideas that you know you wish to play out before that physical life. So you will, quote-unquote, time the event of your birth to coincide with floating energy that is most conducive to setting up patterns in your physical life that will really take you in the quickest possible way in the directions you really need to explore. And so you will be born, physicalized at that time to freeze those patterns into position, so they will be the most likely patterns that will affect your physiological reality and not the free-floating ones. You understand?
I understand. Would there be any significance to the fact that I was born on Easter Sunday, on a specific day?
Well, of course, there's significance to everything. What is the significance to you?
Well, part of it, I understand Easter Sunday is a new beginning.
No, all right.
The others, I was pretty aberrated on the subject of Christianity. I don't know why it would be, the reverse Christmas.
Oh, many times you will explore the idea of polarities to get you exactly where you need to go. But what you call the red ray, in that sense, in a sense, is the beginning of what you would call the spectrum of vibrational realities that you know as physical reality. And now you are, to some degree, beginning a new spectrum again. But this time it is not simply one isolated ray at a time, one isolated epoch or era at a time. Now it is the red ray with the blending of all the others. Now it is the orange with the blending of all the others. Now it is the yellow with the blending of all the others, and so on up the scale, as you say. Now each and every one of you may have a slightly, shall we say, biased energy to a particular frequency, a particular ray, but you will now, because this is the transformational life, be exploring all the other ideas and how they apply to the ray you are strongest in, most deeply embedded in, because then your learning and your teaching will assist all others to understand how each ray, in a sense, is an extension of all the others, and each ray is a manifestation of the one primal white light of all that is. So you have much leeway now in how you explore how your red ray vibration fits or applies into your physiological reality now, much differently than that would have been experienced, shall we say, 10 of your 1,000 years ago, where it was a far more isolated idea, where the idea of red ray would be almost all that would be experienced upon your planet in certain areas. Now there is a blending and a sharing of all the things you have learned by being in that ray, and how you can apply a knowledge and an exploration and understanding of all the other frequencies to that. So there is a blending from every level, so that the red blends with all, the orange blends with all, and so on up the scale, and becomes more self-reflective, so that it all accelerates together, and when you have all colors accelerating together, they homogenize back into the white light of all that is. Perhaps, if you wish, as an assistive tool, if none of you have done this, some of you may have done this, this exists upon your world. If you take what you call a color wheel, and you delineate the 7 of your colors in your spectrum along the edge of that wheel in pie-shaped sections, and then you spin the wheel very fast, they will look like a white wheel when all colors are blended at a particular frequency. This can aid you, perhaps as a meditational tool, to understand how a preponderance of any one ray can blend and assist all the others. Understand?
Yes.
Does this assist you?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Thank you very much for recognizing your own beginnings, your own cycles, and the willingness to put them into action in a particular way to be of assistance to all other rays and cycles on your planet at this time. Whatever significance you discover, understand you are creating that with your consciousness, and whatever significance you do discover is representative of who you are. So apply it that way. There is no right and wrong way to understand the significance of such personally important things. Whatever is most personally important to you in that way, whatever the meaning really is, whatever meaning you give it, will determine the type of reality that stems from it, that grows from it, that you experience from the giving of that meaning. You understand?
Yes. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. And do understand also that symbolically, in that sense, of course, generally for all of you, it represents that Easter time, the whole idea of a resurrection from old ideas to new ideas, and then very shortly thereafter of an ascension, a transcendence into another level of reality altogether, an acceleration of your vibratory energy. And that is, in a sense, truly a new beginning. We thank you.
Thank you.
Sharing.
Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day and Happy New Year.
And Happy New Year to you. Right now I'm at a crossroads.
Very exciting.
Yes, it is. As far as my career goes, but also I think the direction of my whole life right now.
Oh, whole life. All right.
Yes. And I know where I want to go, but I'm not really sure how to get there.
Now, have you heard about the idea before of doing what excites you?
Yes.
Have you applied that idea at every given moment in your life?
Probably not every no, but I'm trying to more and more.
All right. I'll let you say trying for now. Remember that you do not necessarily need a particular idea that functions as a career that you will do for the rest of your life to be able to do at any given moment what excites you the most at that moment with integrity. Again, it may be simply an issue of learning to place your trust in a positive frame of reference as opposed to placing trust in a negative frame of reference. Do remember, and we do not mean that this indicates it must take a long time, but do remember that your society has, shall we say, impregnated all of you with so many beliefs, so many different definitions, that it may simply take a little while before you play all of them out. Bring them all back up to the surface to determine and decide for yourself which of those definitions really represents the life you really prefer, and therefore which of those definitions you want to keep and which of those definitions you want to change. It may simply take a little while to do that because you have so many definitions. Have things in your estimation, using your language, been generally improving?
Oh, yes.
All right. Does that allow you to feel happy?
Very much so.
Does feeling happy allow things in your life to generally improve faster?
Yes.
All right. So the happier you are, the faster they will improve, according to your preference, yes?
Mm-hmm.
So be as happy as you can. That is one of the things each and every one of you can do. And it isn't a matter of the idea of saying, oh, well, yes, all well and good to have a nice attitude, but that doesn't really affect the nature of things in my life. Oh, yes, it does. Attitude is everything. It is the main lever, the main dial, the main pointer that takes you down the hallway of events. Because there are many probable hallways of styles of events, of how things in your life might manifest. When your pointer is always happy, then you always go down the hallways that represent the happiest and most synchronous events. So the idea of what can you do is first to be in that place in the present, to be in that energy state in the present where you are happy with who and what you are to begin with. Full self-validation. Full self-validation. Full self-validation. No doubt, no regret, no guilt in the negative sense. Full integrity, full trust in a positive notion, the positive direction you know you are, the positive idea you know you are, and also remembering that you don't need me to remind you of these things. That the interaction we are having now, you are perceiving not because of me, but because of you. Because you are creating this interaction in your reality. So anytime you feel you need a pep talk, understand you have the capability of allowing any portion of yourself to give it to you. You do not have to rely on a seemingly exteriorized reflection. Because all you're hearing right now are your own words anyway. Not really directly mine. My vibrational intention is aligned, in that sense, with what you really desire to hear. But remember, your capability of hearing what I am saying comes from the fact that you are actually telling yourself these things, because that's what is the reality you prefer. So if you understand that you are capable of hearing these ideas because that's the reality you prefer, then you are capable of manifesting that reality because it's self-contained to begin with. Understand?
Yes.
Does this help you?
Yes, it does.
Well, thank you very much.
And thank you.
Sharing.